Hi folks, I hope you're well. Right, this video. Today, I spoke to people in that Pentecostal church. Again, they had their coffee morning thing. And there was one young lady who I spoke to last week who was there again today. I spoke to her briefly. Just speaking to her about Cain and Abel. And my first point was just to say to her, go to God about Cain and Abel and ask God, which one are you? Ask God to help you to understand the nature of the two and why Cain never pleased God. While we were talking, she did the thing that so many people do. She acted as if she was my equal. From her understanding, she acted as if she was my equal. But she's not. She probably never will be. And, good for her that she probably won't be. In some ways, but, not necessarily in other ways. The chance is that by the time she gets to my age, that she will be equal in knowledge, understanding, and, has had the similar sort of journey, is as much of an overcomer, etc., etc. No chance. I'm not saying this from the point of arrogance. I'm saying this from the point of view of she was not willing to receive. At all. She wanted to show that she was equal and that she had as much to give. She was basically arguing that obviously Abel's offering was far better than Cain's. And I said to her, if that was the case, Cain would have understood why he never pleased God. He would have understood that his efforts aren't as good. I said, what if it was the other way around? What if Cain produced incredible efforts and Abel produced a pretty basic offering? But because Abel's offering was an offering out of love, whereas Cain's was an offering to please, Abel's offering pleased God, but Cain's never did. If you were Cain, and that kept on being the case, that you saw your brother's offering, and it was a pile of trash, and your offering was incredible, wouldn't that enrage you? And she said, no, obviously Abel's offering was better. I said, yeah, but you're getting that from the name Abel. You're thinking, obviously, he was more able because his name is Abel. I said, we get the name Abel, as in more capable, from his name. Because his offering was better in God's eyes. But better in God's eyes is not better according to the world's eyes. And she was never willing to accept. At all. I left her by saying, look, take it to God. Because God can help you to see it in a way that you will understand. Because that is true. But it is phenomenal that this girl, who would be probably around about 22, 23, maybe a tiny bit older, but not much, thinks that she could be equal to someone who is 56 and has gone through so much more. There is no way, shape or form she could be equal. There is no way, shape or form she could have an equal standing. But this is how warped the understanding is of young people now. And for some bizarre reason, they think that they are equal to elders. I'm not saying age is relevant. Age is not relevant. No. But it's like the man who does the outside thing. who stands outside and talks to people as they pass by. He said there was a postman who he was talking to, and the postman said he has depression and stuff like that. And Dave, the man who was there, said, "Oh, you need to find a church. You need to go to a church to get the help." And yeah, if that was me, I'd say go to God. Other people are trained to say go to church, as if church is equal to God. It's bizarre, isn't it? There is an understanding that is actually also wrong. That says you go to church to find God. It's actually the opposite. You go to God to find church. Because again, what are you trying to find? Are you trying to find God's church or man's church? If you're trying to find man's church, there's plenty of those around. Baptist, Pentecostal, C of E, United Reformed, etc., 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 Salvation Army, all of them. Yeah, most of these are man's churches, not God's, because they took the church away from God. So therefore, they don't belong to God. But the understanding that church is equal to God. Well, the understanding that God's word is equal to God is insane. Because, yes, God's actual word, which we don't have, would be equal to God. But we don't have it. We don't have, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, I could not put my finger on any translation of Bible that we have and say this is God's word. But people, I've come across people who are very much in the point that if God's word is proved to be false, then their faith in God dies. It's so incredibly stupid. Your faith in God can't be dependent on a book. Even if the book is called the Bible. When we have so many different versions. But there you go. So, going back to the original point, yes. Right now, the world is bizarre. It says that a young woman is equal to, in knowledge, understanding, wisdom, to that of someone so much older, which is just not the case. And yes, like so many things, that has impacted the church. Or infected, should I say. It has infected. But again, you can understand it. When most older members of the church have the same sort of level of knowledge and understanding as those who are kids in faith. Well, there you go. You can understand why those who are kids in faith think that they're equal. Yeah. But it's up to God to deal with these people, not me. So I wish that young lady well. And I hope she goes to God, because if she does, she will learn something. So you take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.